everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Hard Truth. Thank you so much for watching. Listen, you guys are shining so bright this week. I think we can all agree that Kohberger and Kohberger had psychiatric issues that made life challenging, to say the least. I also believe that the answers to this Idaho 4 matrix of evil begins in Pullman, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So grab that fancy coffee or a nice cup of tea as we begin our story. People who suffer from mental illness are often accused of various crimes, and unfortunately, as a society, we're quick to believe that is true. According to the American Psychological Association, 64% of county and city jail inmates suffer from mental illness. That's 54% for state inmates and 45% for federal prisoners. According to the PCA, 2 WSU officers ran across Kohberger's car on November the 25th and reported it to Moscow police. I do believe, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that Kohberger became a suspect around this date, but in my opinion, he was reported by someone in WSU faculty after becoming a spectacle during arguments with his supervisor. I believe during this time, and this is just my opinion, the ball started rolling to build a case against Brian. Look at this article in the New York Times. University investigated Idaho murder suspect's behavior around the time of the killings. Brian Kohberger had a verbal altercation with a professor and was investigated over his behavior around female students before he was charged in 4 murders. The PhD student charged with murdering 4 University of Idaho undergraduates displayed such troubling behavior in the weeks around the killings that his university investigated his conduct around women. We're saying the same thing. Counseled him over a verbal altercation with a professor and ultimately fired him from his job as a teaching assistant, according to interviews and a university record. All right. Not only that, in the case of the female students, the university's investigation did not find Mr. Kohberger guilty of any wrongdoing, 2 people said, and it was other matters that prompted the decision to eliminate his funding and remove him from his teaching assistant job. Okay, so we see that there's a compounding of allegations against him. Not only is he being belligerent as a teaching assistant, but he's being inappropriate with female students. So already we're starting to see the profile of someone who could have actually done the Idaho 4 murders. Remember, this video is for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's test my hypothesis and look at the timeline of events. On November 29th, Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana's cars were towed away from King Road. And then Papa Rogers popped up talking about a knife sheath on November the 30th. MPD released a stock photo of Brian Kohberger's car on December the 7th. Brian left for Pennsylvania around December the 12th. Kohberger had a psychotic break on December the 15th, and Brian was stopped twice later in Indiana. Kohberger's DNA has been available from the very beginning. So now the question becomes, were they right about Brian, or was he just the best suspect? How sure were they when he first became a suspect that he is the person that did this? And an even bigger question becomes, if he didn't do it, who did? Where was Brian Kohberger between 3 and 5 a.m. on November the 13th? Was he made a suspect based on just a hunch? Is he a scapegoat, or is he the killer? Where was Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen during the crime? Did Brian Kohberger know Brent Kopaka? These are some of the questions that we will address in my next live. Okay? I'm out of time, but I would like to also remind you to like, share, and subscribe, and also to consider becoming a member, as you can join for only $2.99 a month. There's also great merchandise available in the merch store, and you can also give cash donations through several options, including Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, and Remitly. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, God bless.